Let's bring in the ranking Republican on the House Intel panel, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, appreciate you being here.
Ed, great to be on your new show. Thanks for having me.
That's great. A lot to cover, breaking news. I want to sort it all out. So I'll keep the questions short if you keep the answers short as well. Second transcript that the president says that he's going to release. A second phone call the president had with his Ukrainian counterpart. He wants to release that Tuesday, the day before the hearings. How significant is that? Oh.
Well, I don't know because I don't know what's on the transcript. I'm assuming that's the prior transcript from earlier in the year, but I have no idea what's on it, Ed.
Okay. A few moments ago, Mark Zaid, who's the attorney for the whistleblower, put out this tweet. I want to quickly get your reaction because it's directed at you. He said, the top lawyer for Devin Nunes told me in writing that the Republicans always protect whistleblowers. That had been my experience with the Republicans for years. So why are they now seeking to expose our whistleblower client to unnecessary danger? Your reaction to the attorney saying that by demanding that the whistleblower be on your witness list, you're exposing him to danger?
The whistleblower has, in fact, had 6 weeks to come down to the SCIF in private, in secret, to come and tell us who he is, who he spoke to, where he got this information. The one thing we know about the whistleblower is he coordinated with Adam Schiff and his staff. He needs to answer those questions. We also need to know his background and as to why the Inspector General believes that he showed political bias. And in fact, it appears like that is indeed the case.
And speaking of political bias, the same attorney for the whistleblower, as we all know now, infamously had this tweet way back in 2017 suggesting that there was a coup that was going to be led against this president. Kevin McCarthy, your Republican colleague, the leader, spoke to my colleague Maria Bartiromo and said something pretty strong. I want to get your reaction. Listen to this.
Adam Schiff started this all by wanting the whistleblower to testify. And now Adam Schiff gets to decide who comes forward, and now he's fighting the whistleblower from coming forward. It's clear now more than ever. This is a calculated coup, and it is being orchestrated by Adam Schiff.
Is this a calculated coup against President Trump? And if so, how do you back that up?
Well, we spent 3 years on the Russia hoax, and really what this looks like is it's like the cheap knockoff version to the Russia hoax without the Department of Justice and without the FBI involved. It looks like either the Democrats in the House are either useful idiots or they're in on it, but it appears like some bureaucracy, some parts of the bureaucracy were really mad that they didn't like that President Trump had a special envoy to Ukraine. They didn't like that he was sending Rudy Giuliani to Ukraine to find out where the dirt was coming from that the Democrats were using to feed to the FBI.
But Congressman, on this point, pardon me, a calculated coup. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I think there's no question that it's a coup. I mean, you can call it what you want. I mean, I've called it in the past a paper coup, in that nobody's rising up arms against the government. But when they started out at the very beginning of Congress talking about impeaching the president, nearly every mainstream media outlet, nearly every professional that you see in Washington in the swamp there, they just didn't like that a businessman from New York with no political experience became the president.
Okay,
and they've been hell-bent on impeaching this president.
Last question on this, then I want to talk about Hunter Biden. Impeachment is in the Constitution. So how is it a coup if Democrats are going through the procedures that were set up by the framers?
Well, it's a good question. So there's what's in the Constitution, and then there's precedent by the House. And so if you were trying to actually run a credible impeachment, which is the Constitution, as you say, you would follow precedent. This would be like the highest level of any conviction to remove a president from office. So at a minimum, you should have, not only should both parties have whatever witnesses they want, okay, all of the witnesses that they want, they should have subpoena power. We should be able to get documents. That should have happened first. Secondly, the president should be there if you're going to have a fair process. But look, for more than that, Ed, there's just no evidence here. Like, I hate to go on the whistleblower, but as of now, this whistleblower exists in only because Adam Schiff and the Democrats told us, the IG told us, and a lawyer told us. we don't know if this person actually exists and what their knowledge really is.
Okay, all fair questions that will be aired Wednesday. I want to have fair questions directed at former Vice President Joe Biden, as the president has been demanding. So my last question to you is, Adam Schiff's already shooting down the idea that you can bring in Hunter Biden. What do you want to know from him? Because I know you've tried to make the case that he is material to the president's concern that there was corruption going on in Ukraine. And we get a little bonus time with the ranking Republican on the House Intel panel, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, I appreciate you gutting it out. Sometimes there's a little audio issues. You're out in California. I want to be fair because I was pressing you about these coup comments and how you back it up. I want to get to what you want to talk about as well, which is that you and other Republicans are upset that Adam Schiff has shut down the idea of bringing in Hunter Biden. React to what the chairman did this weekend, but tell me specifically, what do you want to hear from Hunter Biden?
Well, I think at the very heart of this is that we deserve our witnesses, right? We deserve some witnesses. And the media has been out there saying that he's going to give us our witnesses. So clearly, Hunter Biden is at the center of this because the question is, what were the Democrats doing in Ukraine? So we know that they were paying informants like Fusion GPS to dig up dirt in Ukraine. Later on, we find out that Hunter Biden is receiving up to $83,000 a month. Now, any normal American that lives in anywhere but New York City knows it's not normal for somebody to make $83,000 a month, especially if they happen to be the son of the current sitting vice president at the time. And then later, we now know from State Department documents that the vice president was making numerous calls to Ukraine just the week after that. So it's pretty clear this is a foundational witness as to whether or not the president of the United States was correct in being concerned and sending his lawyer to Ukraine to figure out who were these Ukrainians digging up dirt on him, and was there other malfeasance taking place in Ukraine at the time.
Congressman, I appreciate it. The world will be watching Wednesday as these impeachment hearings begin. I will not take it personally that you were taking a shot at people sitting in New York City judging all of this, which is where I happen to be sitting. I know it wasn't directed at me. I'm kidding you, of course, but I appreciate you coming on this weekend.
I'm sitting at a horse show here now in California, so, you know.
Well, horse show, we can take that in a number of directions. I won't do that now. Congressman, thanks for coming in.